basta yung mga dokumentong naipasa sa amin ay pasok doon sa nakasaad sa RPUS Extradition Treaty, then we will proceed to file the petition. Now, the court where the petition will be filed will now have to determine whether yung mga pinasa ba nating petition and the supporting documents are compliant with the extradition treaty, and if found to be compliant and all the other elements are established, then I do not see any reason for extradition not to be granted.
Huwag ninyong galitin ang anak. Baka totohanin ko yung sinasabi yung pindutin ko yung vibrator na sa libutan.
Oh my God!
Guguho kayo riyan.
Thank you, Polo. Good afternoon to everyone. From the Office of the Chief State Counsel, I would like to confirm that our office is or has received already the formal request for extradition from the United States of America for Pastor Apollo Quiboloy and two other respondents. So the documents are with us. We are reviewing the submissions made by the United States government to ensure its compliance with the Philippine-US Extradition Treaty and the Philippine Extradition Law. So that's all for now from our office. Thank you.
Thank you, PG, Chief State, and USEC Nikki. We now open the floor for questions. Please raise your hand and state your name and organization that you represent. Camille.
Good afternoon po. Camille Samonte from TV5. To Chief Chan, can you enlighten us what would be the next steps? Since na formally na-receive na review, ano po yung mga next steps and process po na pagdadaanan?
So, under the Philippine Extradition Law and the Extradition Treaty with the United States, we have to ensure the presence of several key elements. Number one is the identity of the person or persons to be extradited. We have to confirm that the Apollo Quiboloy they are looking for is the one na nandito nga sa atin. And then we have to also validate and confirm the principle of dual criminality, in which the offense that the United States government is seeking Mr. Quiboloy and the other respondents for have the same underlying act here in the Philippines. So it doesn't have to carry the same nomenclature under our penal system and that of theirs, but so long as the act involved is the same, then it is considered an extraditable offense. Thirdly, we have to also ensure and validate that the imprisonment that these respondents will face if and when convicted in the United States is at least 1 year and up. We also would have to check na hindi pa prescribed yung offense under the US legal system. And lastly, we have to also make sure that that capital punishment or death penalty will not be imposed should they be found guilty for the offenses that they are being prosecuted or sought for.
Sir, may we know sino yung dalawa pang hinihiling din po ng US government?
Let me check the names lang.
But sir, right now, he's also facing cases here before the Pasig RTC. Paano po yun makakapekto? Like, is there a possibility na i-extradite muna siya sa US and then eventually sa kanya tapusin yung conviction dito? Ano po ba yung pwedeng mangyari?
So the extradition treaty with the United States provides for such a situation where the person or persons to be extradited are also facing criminal charges here in the Philippines. So the state here has the option of whether to, one, proceed with the filing of the petition for extradition, and then let it play out in court, or two, to defer any action on filing the petition and wait for the local cases to reach its conclusion. So that is provided for under Article 11 of the Extradition Treaty with the United States.
But sir, last na lang from my end. But definitely, sir, i-hear pa rin siya sa court. It's the court who will determine if pumasa itong request or if it's compliant.
Yes, that is part of due process. It will be filed in the regional trial court, and then this extradition court will base its ruling on the limited issues presented before it, which is whether or not the person being sought is extraditable under the Philippine-US Extradition Treaty.
Okay. Darlene?
Good afternoon, Darlene Kai from GMA News. Question also for Chief Chan. Tungkol pa rin po dito sa Quiboloy extradition request. For the record, kailan po natanggap ng DOJ yung request from DFA?
Friday last week. Yes.
Okay. Ano po yung timeline na tinitingnan natin for the review? Gaano katagal bago isasampa na sa local court natin?
The documents that we received from the Department of Foreign Affairs were quite voluminous. Parang each respondent would have 6 batches of envelopes na supporting documents. So we have to go through each of that. We are working on the evaluation as fast as we can, but at the same time ensuring that we are not skipping or cutting corners here. We have to make sure that everything is compliant with the Philippine extradition law as well as the extradition treaty with the United States. As to timeline, I do not want to give any specific or fixed timetable, but we understand that this is an issue of national interest, and we will just try to hasten our action on this, because I know that the public is keenly and closely monitoring the developments.
Sir, just so the public can understand, what is the importance of the Philippine government adhering to the extradition treaty between the Philippines and the United States?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Actually, it goes a long way in enhancing the Philippines' image in the international community. The extradition treaty is a formal agreement between the Philippines and the United States. It will not look good on us if wala tayong nagagawa or hindi natin nasusunod yung terms and the provisions of the extradition treaty. So, while I am not saying automatic ang magiging outcome nito na a person will be extradited, but we have to also show to our treaty partners that we are serious in complying with our treaty obligations, and that we understand the need for justice to be served, but at the same time, we have to balance it also with the interest ng Philippines.
Sir, last na lang po from me, regarding Quiboloy at least. Meron po ba na tayong pinagdaanan na ganitong process in the past na pwede naming tignan for pattern or kung paano siya umusad?
When you say in the past, a person is also facing a criminal...
Extradition request from the US.
From the US specifically? None that I could recall of na very entirely similar to the situation of Mr. Quiboloy. But our office has handled a number of extradition requests from the United States. The case of former Congressman Mark Jimenez, if I recall, was one of those na involves the US, the United States. Fairly recently, meron tayong We were successful in prosecuting a petition for extradition, this time with Republic of Korea.
Okay. Sir,
Hi, sir. Good afternoon. Johnson Manabat from ABS-CBN, Chief State Counsel Chan. Sir, who has the last say to extradite the respondent, Quiboloy and two others, kung makumply na lahat ng requirements?
What do you mean, who has the last say?
I mean, kanino manggagaling ang go signal if we are ready to extradite Quiboloy and two others?
Well, there is really no go signal, so to speak. Basta yung mga dokumentong naipasa sa amin ay pasok doon sa nakasaad sa RPUS Extradition Treaty, then we will proceed to file the petition. Now, the court where the petition will be filed will now have to determine whether yung mga pinasa ba nating petition and the supporting documents are compliant with the extradition treaty, and if found to be compliant and all the other elements are established, then I do not see any reason for extradition not to be granted.
And sir, just to clarify, kailangan bang tapusin muna yung local cases na meron tayo against the respondents before we can extradite Quiboloy and two others?
Going back to Article 11 of the RPUS Extradition Treaty, it will allow for a simultaneous track or in simultaneous processing. So what I'm saying is we can file the petition for extradition. It can be heard by the trial court. And at the same time, the criminal cases that Mr. Quiboloy is facing can also run at the same time. Now, as to how, pag umabot na dun sa point na extradition is ordered by the court, ano yung magiging next step? That is something that would have to be studied further by our office
And sir, kanino ipina-file yung petition for extradition?
with the regional trial court.
And ano pong nakikita niyong challenges na hindi papayag or magiging favorable to your petition ang RTC?
I don't want to discuss yung chances, but last year the Supreme Court came out with the rules on extradition. The technical working group that was part of the drafting of the rules took into consideration already the practical experiences ng DOJ in prosecuting petitions for extradition. One of the key issues raised yung delay na, the possible delay that is encountered in petitions for extradition. So with these new rules in place, we are hopeful na hindi ganong katagal ma-resolve. But again, I go back to my earlier statement that so long as the requirements under the RPUS Extradition Treaty are met through the documents that we will be filing, then we are confident that extradition will be granted.
Sir, last two na lang, sorry ha. Going back doon sa, sabi nyo, bagamat wala namang kinakailangan go signal, pero yung Malacanang ba has something to do or to say kung kailangang bigyan ng clearance ang extradition for Quiboloy?
Under our Philippine extradition law, there are only two agencies involved in the extradition process, and that is the Department of Foreign Affairs that initially receives the request for extradition, and it is the Department of Justice that will file the petition for extradition. So those are the two agencies only involved.
Last na lang, can Quiboloy file a motion for reconsideration for that extradition case?
After the grant of the extradition, but for purposes of the DOJ filing the petition itself and then to questionin yung act na yon, I believe the Supreme Court in the case of Secretary of Justice versus Lantion already recognized the exclusive prerogative of the Department of Justice to determine for itself whether or not to file a petition for extradition.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
yes ma'am.
Hi, good afternoon po. Kathleen of Inquirer. Hi sir, kay Sir Chan po ulit. Na-mention niyo po just recently, pero can you explain further gaano katagal yung process usually? Are we expecting na madelay siya dahil idadaan pa siya sa courts? Thank you.
We will be subject to the calendar of the court where the petition for extradition will be filed. So I cannot say for sure kung mabilis ang takbo niyan. But what I can tell you is that under the Supreme Court rules on extradition right now, they made the process a bit more streamlined. Meron lang mga required submissions or mga pwedeng ipasa ng mga papeles sa korte at mga hindi pwedeng ipasa. So, the Supreme Court did away with any possible dilatory tactics. So, we are hoping that once filed, it will not take years. Siguro mga buwan lang ang tinitingnan natin dito.
Sir,
Yes, sir. Sir Jones.
good afternoon. Kay Chief State Counsel Chan. If ever po na mag-grant yung extradition, who will shoulder the expenses? The US or the Philippines?
Under, if I recall the extradition treaty properly, yung cost ng pag-file dito sa Philippines will be shouldered by the Philippines, but yung actual transfer it would be shouldered by the requesting state, or in this case, the United States.
Any more questions? Joe?
Hi sir, Jo Casilo po of GMA News Online. Kay PG po. Sir, can we know kailan po final ng Duterte Camp yung motion to quash po?
Well, we have not received our copy yet of the motion. We just were forwarded a copy of the order of the court. No, the order of the court stating that the prosecution is given a period to file yung kanyang comment doon sa motion to recall or to hold in abeyance the issuance of the warrant of arrest and motion to quash was received yesterday. So most likely we anticipate that it could have been filed either Tuesday or Wednesday of this week.
Sir, you said you will file your comment or reply. Is the DOJ hopeful or confident that the court will rule in your favor po?
Well, I cannot speak for how the court will rule. However, we will be filing our comment to as soon as we see what the basis is of the defense in asking for the quashal of the information. Malalaman lang namin yan pag nakakuha na kami ng kopya at batay dun sa sagot na dun sa motion or mga allegation na nakalagay dun sa motion, yun ang sasagutin natin. So, hindi namin masasabi kung ito ba'y kung ano ang grounds, hanggat hindi namin nakikita at hindi namin maaring hulaan. Although we are hopeful that we will be able to give a comment to that said motion.
Sir, may sinasabi po kasi yung defense last week po ata or earlier this week na hindi daw po pwedeng ma-prosecute si VP Sara kasi may impeachment offense po. Yung kaso po niya ay impeachment offense din po. Can we get your comment on that, sir?
Well, whatever it is that's going on before the impeachment court is different from the one that we have now. This is before the regional trial court. That's why we would leave it to the ruling of the court, how it will dispose the same, whether it believes that the charges can be sustained, even if the accused in this case is an impeachable officer. Kasi wala namang nagbabar na hindi siya pwedeng filean ng kaso. Yun ang pananaw ng Department of Justice.
Sir, last question for me po. Si Palace Press Officer Claire Castro, she said kulang daw po yung grave threats na final po. Naniniwala po siya na yung statements po na sinabi ng Vice Presidente ay nagsasow po ng hatred against President Marcos and First Lady. Baka may comment po on DOJ.
So, is it tantamount to saying na dapat may inciting to sedition?
Sir.
Well, that I cannot try to determine the reasoning of the palace spokesperson. However, we base it on the evidence that we have, and based on the resolution itself, we had mentioned that it is not inciting to sedition, no, when these are just mere utterance or speeches, no, when it is not proven that the accused or the defendant incited the people to rise publicly and tumultuously in order to achieve the ends mentioned under the particular article covered, which is Article 139 of the Revised Penal Code. So, ito po yung maring yun po ang pananaw ng ating palace spokesperson. Pero ito po yung naging findings naman po ng ating mga prosecutors nung ito po ay sinubject to preliminary investigation.
Good afternoon po, Joel po from Business Mirror. Sir, tama po ba yung any ruling by the lower court on Quiboloy's extradition is final and executory and cannot be appealed anymore before the CA or the SC?
Hello. Yeah, sorry. Hindi siya final. There is that it can still be appealed. The decision of the trial court granting extradition can still be appealed. So pwedeng dumaan pa through the regular appeal process before it becomes final and executory.
So, tapos under the SC rules, sir, meron pwede ring i-postpone ang implementation ng extradition, tama po ba? So, who will decide kung i-postpone muna natin to until yung criminal prosecution niya dito ay matapos? So, sino ang may final say pagdating doon sa postponement ng implementation ng extradition?
Yes, correct. Under the rules ng Supreme Court, there is deferment of implementation. So, it is executive prerogative. So, nasa Department of Justice yon on of course, weighing all the relevant circumstances and in consultation with our treaty partner kung i-defer ba ang implementation or itutuloy.
Thank you, sir.
Wala na makakahadlang sa extradition na hinihingi po ng US para dito kay Pastor Apollo Quiboloy. Ayon na po yan mismo sa kay Sir Dennis Chan. Ng state, basta tauhan siya ng DOJ. Nako, medyo bad news to para sa mga DDS kasi nga po maisasakatuparan po talaga ang extradition treaty ng para dito kay Quiboloy. Maisasakatuparan, maipapatupad talaga kasi nga po yung mga requirements ay na-comply po ng Amerika. Saka isa pa, totoo naman yun eh. Talaga namang mayroon talagang kaso si Quiboloy doon sa Amerika. At hindi pa presidente si PBBM, may kaso na po yung si Quiboloy doon. So, kung sisisihin po ng mga DDS si PBBM kung sakaling mapagdesisyonan po na isuko na itong si Quiboloy sa Amerika, wala po ibang dapat sisihin dito kung hindi si Digong, 'di ba? Si Digong, bakit si Digong? Umalis tayo sa ICC. Inalis niya tayo sa ICC pero hindi niya tayo inalis sa US Extradition Treaty. 'Di ba? Dapat umalis na din siya sa US Extradition Treaty. Bakit? Kasi kung umalis na po tayo, hindi na po tayo nagkaroon ng extradition treaty with America, hindi po maibibigay o hindi po maisusuko si Quiboloy sa Amerika. Naging presidente si Digong, ang inisip lang niya yung sarili niya. No, 'di ba? Inisip lang niya na makaligtas siya from ICC pero hindi pa rin nakaligtas. So walang ibang dapat sisihin dito sa mangyayari na ito kung hindi po etong si Digong lamang. Kasi dapat nung umalis tayo sa ICC, umalis na din tayo sa pakikipagkaibigan sa Amerika para hindi po ma-extradite si Quiboloy doon sa Amerika. Di ba? Wala na may ibang dapat sisihin dito. Kaya wag pong isisi ito kay PBBM. Etong mga mangyayari na ito sa darating na panahon na extradition ni Quiboloy. Nararapat lamang po na maiharap sa korte ng Amerika si Quiboloy dahil meron siya doong kaso. 'Di ba? At hindi po totoo yung mga bali-balita ni Quiboloy, yung mga paninira niya kay PBBM, mga rendition, elimination, kikidnapin siya doon sa KOJC compound niya. Hindi po totoo yun. Bakit? Due process po ang sinusunod. Hindi po ito panahon ngayon ng mga barbaric na pamumuno na katulad ng kay Digong na walang warrant-warrant, nakakapasok ng bahay ang mga PNP, walang search warrant, nakakapasok ang mga PNP, di ba? At ang hustisya po ay napakailap. Ngayon po, kahit nakalaban ka ng kahit nakinalaban mo ang gobyerno, kahit na ikitadtad ng kaso, ikaw ay makakaasa pa rin sa due process. 'Di ba? 'Yun ang maliwanag diyan. So, yun lamang po, maraming salamat sa pagsama nyo dito sa aking vlog na ito. Ingat po kayo. Happy weekend, Happy Friday sa lahat ng mga tropa pips natin. Paki-like, subscribe and comment nyo po ang inyong opinion diyan sa ating comment section. Sana makasagot kayo diyan sa ating poll sa community. Meron po tayong poll diyan na sino ba ang pipiliin mo? Si Quiboloy o ang Paksilika? Kasi kay Quiboloy wala naman tayong napapala. Paksilika, naku, napakaraming trabaho po ang ma-generate nito. Sino ba pipiliin mo? Yung walang silbi o yung may silbi? So, yun lamang po. Bye-bye. Salamat po.